Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Running, running, no. Keep running.
Bro, you have to give it up to Bonnie, bro. Bonnie's only 12 years old. Even in this last panel, Bonnie actually was only 9 years old, knocking out a secret agent, Alpha of the world government. Now, we don't know if she's Cypher Pro agent, but at the same time, she's only 9 years old. And not to think about her power-wise, right? If you really be tuned into Sawyer 7 Image, he's another YouTuber who does YouTube content, bro. He's basically saying that Bonnie power, right, is product of actually her manifesting these powers, right? Manifesting things that might be happening in the future. If things alternate, if things was different, she can manifest the power. And it seems like she can manifest anything with this devil fruit. I don't think you hear me, bro. Bonnie is only 12 years old and she has bounty over 300 million. Now, I'm not saying anything, but Big Mom was that strong at that age. And Bonnie still has a whole future ahead of her, bro. And she already have a bounty of 300 million. And she's only 12 years old. Maybe the devil fruit that got her this far. But at the same time, she's only 12 years old and doing things like this. Now, I don't know if Bonnie manifested a Gear 3 punch, a giant pistol punch. I don't know. But at the same time, it's Nika-like. Now, Bonnie don't know actually how Nika is, right? Kuma just told Bonnie that they said that he fancied the way he fights, but he has a property of rubber. Now, I don't know if Bonnie looked into the future, if a devil fruit lets you look into the future and see future moves or somebody's futurely having the Nika model devil fruit. But at the same time, this looks like a giant pistol from Gear 3. Now, I can say one thing about it, bro. 3 years ago, Luffy wasn't doing this. 3 years ago, I don't think Luffy even thought about a gear. So just think about how in a distant future, the distorted future, she thought about Luffy doing something before Luffy could even do it. Now, I don't know that the property of her devil fruit, but at the same time, she's doing things, right? Distorted future wise, right? With her devil fruit, and she's still doing things that people are doing in the near future. You have to give it up to Bonnie, bro. You have to give it up to her, bro. She's only 9 years old, right? Well, she's 12 now with a 300 million berry bounty, right? She's only 12 years old. And just to think about the hardship that her, Tots, Gabriel, and had to go through on this long voyage, right? It started off a recovery mission to find Kuma, and they turned off to be pirates. But at long last, we see that this flashback is almost coming to an end. We're already at 3 years ago from the current timeline, so we're getting close. So the only thing we have to discover is either is Kuma gonna find Bonnie, or is Bonnie gonna find Kuma? And the most crazy thing about it that we seen Alpha, the secret agent nurse, throwing away, ripping up these letters from Kuma. Think about how bad it was for actually Bonnie to wait on these letters from her father and to never ever receive them, and to think that maybe Kuma's not thinking about her at the same time. So think about that. Like, how can my father not write me on my 9th birthday? You know why? Because Alpha was too busy in the background ripping up every letter. I can say this is one of the saddest things ever, right? To have somebody go out, you know, being cured and can't even write her, thinking that these letters is getting to her, and they're not. So many emotions was writing in these letters that Kuma was writing, and Bonnie couldn't even get them. That is so sad to know that Bonnie thinking that Kuma's not writing her when all he's writing her, penning his emotions out, writing about his adventures, writing about things that he want Bonnie to actually see when these adventures. And it's so sad she won't get none of them. Think about this for a second. The reason why Bonnie is not mad at Dr. Vegapunk because Dr. Vegapunk has Kuma memories. Dr. Vegapunk has Kuma memories stored away, and he have all the memories of Kuma actually writing the letters. So when Bonnie actually touched this Kuma aura, she probably seen how many letters he's actually wrote, right? And that would make her even more happy to be on alongside of not trying to harm Dr. Vegapunk and Luffy. That maybe is the case because of the simple fact Bonnie is cool now. Bonnie has all of Kuma's memories stored away from the point of when we start being enslaved, right? The God Valley incident. Bonnie knows all that now. I'm pretty sure if Bonnie touched us a fear and seeing Kuma as a child getting beaten, trying to get drive back to God Valley, I'm pretty sure that she's seen all these letters he was writing before he actually lost his consciousness. Now, Dr. Vegapunk said it himself in the manga that he's gonna leave a little bit of ounce of consciousness inside him until the day when he becomes a complete Terminator. And maybe Dr. Vegapunk is lying. Maybe Dr. Vegapunk left more than 5% of consciousness for Kuma, because we see how Kuma acted on Mayor Joyce. He definitely got away for Akainu, and he felt the pain that Akainu endured on him. So I'm pretty sure that Kuma, it's been 3 years later, and Dr. Vegapunk said it might take a whole year to lose his consciousness, and he still has part of his consciousness. But let's speak on Stussy for a minute. Now, Stussy, I can tell in these panels that Stussy is very insecure about her being a clone. She basically saying that she's not really human. Although she is human, she's just a clone of the original Stussy Buckingham. And I feel like even during the current timeline, Stussy is dealing with a split personality of her being real and not real because she was a successful clone. But let's talk about the beginning of this chapter now. We've seen that young Luffy is in the jungle using Gum Gum No Axe. Now this is definitely a strong and powerful move. But we see how Kuma was definitely peeping eyes on Dragon to see why he was so familiar in this region. So as Kuma was watching in on Luffy, he had a flashback of what Dragon said basically, and Kuma really hit it on the head. I feel like Kuma had a good idea that this young lad on the edge of Goa Kingdom that Dragon kept visiting may be related to him, right? Maybe related to Dragon, because Dragon kept coming through and kept watching this young lad. So Dragon evidently told him different ways that we not accustomed to, basically that's my vulnerable spot. He's definitely my kid. And listen, with kids, that can definitely hurt a strong guy. Vulnerability of a child, it will hurt you. And definitely Dragon's a strong person, right? Dragon is probably the most wanted man in the One Piece verse, and him having a child, definitely after the time skip, they all knew that Dragon was actually Luffy's father. So evidently it helped Luffy for the first half, right, of this story. But the second half, it really hurt Dragon to know that everybody knows, and that's my opinion. And another thing, I feel that Garb definitely influenced Dragon being a Marine, and I feel like Dragon wanted to give Luffy his own opinion of what he wanted to do, because we seen that the Marines are not all good, and we seen that one thing I can say, that people look up to their significant other, as in their grandpa, their father, and I feel like Dragon didn't want to influence Luffy, and that's why he gained this so much huge space. Okay, we know Dragon's a deadbeat, we all know that, but at the same time, he's a deadbeat for a reason. Do you think Dragon wanted Luffy to go through the same thing that Dragon went through in the Marines, to know that they're not all good, right? To know that the government are crooked people? I'm pretty sure he wanted his son to go through that because Dragon went through that. That's why Dragon found his own ways of means of gains to do what he feels is right, and that's be a revolutionary. And we all know Dragon is a smart person. What if Dragon knew what Kuma was actually doing, right? What if Dragon knew that everything probably is recorded with Kuma? Maybe Dragon knew that, so that's why Dragon said really to get out your mind, because of what if the government knows about my child. It's no secret that Kuma is working for the government. Even in these panels, we see how Kuma is being a dog for the government, taking out things that the government want him to do. Now, I did not know Shishibukai actually does things to help people around the nation, around the world, but we see firsthand that the Marines calling these Shishibukais to actually do their small bidding. Judging by the missions that Kuma actually have during this chapter, we see that these are kind of small things that, you know, that anybody could really do, that the Marines could really do. They really using the Shishibukai in different ways, even if it's small or even if it's big, like Marine 4. But we see as time progresses, we see that Kuma is still kind of loyal to the revolutionaries, right? Aiding them when they need to be aided. At the same time, he's not the only Shishibukai that abuses his power. So at the same time, this is even normal for the Shishibukai. So when he does what he does, it's kind of like normal. But at the same time, he's showing loyalty to the people that brought him here, and that's the revolutionary. But to talk about the end of this chapter, we see that Connie actually had a great plan. The secret agents actually spilled the tea when they were drunk late night, basically saying that they were secret government agents. The most funniest thing is when Connie was acting like Bonnie, and Alpha was not going for it. And I could tell you the real reason why Alpha went down. She did not expect this from Bonnie. And the great thing about it, Connie actually wanted to hide this at the last minute, because at the same time, a surprise surprise attack is everything. And like I said, Alpha was not expecting this attack from Bonnie, and that's why she got dealt with so easily. And also on a positive note, the way that Bonnie actually got out of the church and she starts seeing the grass, the dirt, the sun, the sky, that was so positive on so many levels. And to end it with an amazing attack, a Nika-like attack on Alpha, that sprung her right into the new age of piracy, bro. Like, to having a small bounty, over 100 million berry bounty, and she was only 12. Like, just think about that for a minute, bro. She just so young, right? Being 10, 11, being on Soberody, and having over 100 million berry bounty. That is amazing. Like I said before, I'm not saying she's the next Big Mom, but the only female pirates that we seen to have a bounty like that and being so young was Big Mom. Now, we can say going forward, Bonnie has a crazy big bounty, over 300 million, and she's only 12. Right? So think about when she get older. Definitely she's on track to having a billion berry bounty. And definitely with her devil fruit, the sky is the limit. If she can real deal manifest things in her devil fruit, the future events throughout her devil fruit, that is amazing. And maybe that is the case because we see Sugar has 2 parts of her devil fruit, right? Like, still, these devil fruits are a mystery and things can happen, and we see that Bonnie is manifesting these things. Even when it comes to her Buccaneer state, she manifested that, right? Like, just like the Nika at his last panel, she manifested that with her distorted future. Bonnie is one of the GOATs in One Piece verse. We have to give her respect because of things like this. At the age of 9, knocking off a secret agent Alpha, even though it was a surprise attack, she was not expecting that. I can say her bounty speaks volumes, right? And she's more mature for her age. She's only 12 years old and doing things like this right here. She's on track to be one of the most strong female pirates this One Piece verse has ever seen. That's a chapter. 10 out of 10 for the chapter. Come on now, we know we got to get 10 out of 10. The Oda's on a huge break, right? It's Christmas break, so give Oda this 10 out of 10. It's well needed and well deserved. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to get more of me and more One Piece content. I'm Uncle D Cypher. Love you, love yourself. Peace.